It would be an understatement to say that Geometry Dash is a difficult game. Its simple concept as a one-button game allowed for so much creativity, and along with that creativity came people who spend their time making levels purely just to be as difficult as possible. Clicks that you have 1/60th of a second window to complete without dying, physics glitches, and more are all common occurrences in these top levels. Because of all this, some people call Geometry Dash the hardest game of all time. Naturally, when you make a claim like that, people are bound to disagree. So today I'm going to look at some of the other games that people call the hardest, and compare them, hopefully as objectively as possible, to determine if Geometry Dash is the hardest game. My name is Eli7528, and let's begin. Let's begin with a very popular one, Rocket League. I was drawn to this because 1, many of my friends play this game, and call it one of the highest skill ceilings of any game, along with many other players online, and also, one of the top levels in Geometry Dash, Tidal Wave, uses a song from this game. I've played this game a little bit, and the concept is that you are put in a soccer-like stadium with up to 8 players, which surprisingly these teams can be asymmetrical, like 2v6s, but that rarely ever happens. The main goal is to try to score on the other team's goal, similar to soccer, but instead of people, you play as cars. You have many different actions at your disposal, jumping, and especially accelerating, which can let you climb walls, even ceilings for a little bit, and you can demolish other cars if you ram into them while accelerating, which will blow them up and make them respawn after a second. This is an oversimplification, but you have to use these core principles to make plays and strategies to score on the other team. Now, how does it fare to Geometry Dash? Well, I personally believe Geometry Dash takes the cake for being harder compared to Rocket League. Why? Well, it's the online aspect of it. Let's say I win against the top player of Rocket League. I am horrible at the game. I win 99.99 whatever of the time % get destroyed. Here's the thing though, good Rocket League players train against other good Rocket League players, which means because I'm horrible and have bad strategies, I might be able to confuse them a little bit and get a goal in, and if I'm insanely lucky, win a game. But let me be clear, that would pretty much never happen. But I think a new Rocket League player would have a higher chance to beat a top player than a new Geometry Dash player to beat a top 1. Because in Geometry Dash, there's no tricks. You can get a SEO device, which makes your clicks more responsive, but you still gotta learn the accuracy. You can use practice mode, but you still gotta beat it all in one attempt eventually. You can hack and cheat, but then your account just gets banned. My point is, it's way harder to get lucky in Geometry Dash than in Rocket League. In Geometry Dash, lucky would mean hitting 100+ frame perfect just randomly. And in Rocket League, it could just be using a playstyle the other player isn't used to. Both are nearly impossible against top levels or players, but I think Geometry Dash is just a little bit harder to do. Next is a less known one called I Wanna Be the Guy. This game is a retro-like game that is one of the hardest rage games ever made, the internet says. It's a nearly hour-long game of precise platforming and funny recreations of bosses from other video games, like Super Mario World and Mega Man. It comes with a range of difficulties going from medium to impossible, with impossible having 0 checkpoints throughout the entire 2-hour-long game. Now, let's compare it to Geometry Dash. I Wanna Be the Guy is, of course, a platformer game, meaning you can move left, right, and jump. And no platformer in Geometry Dash compares. They just can't replicate the hour-long experience, considering there is no saving in Geometry Dash. However, the classic levels are a different story. In I Wanna Be the Guy, you are given a lot of time. Sure, there are parts like bosses that force you to move quickly, and there are moving platforms, but most of the game is just pure platforming, where you can take time to line up jumps so you can land them. In Geometry Dash, you are forced to be constantly moving, meaning if you miss a window for a jump, too bad, you're already dead. The whole moving mechanics will make Geometry Dash's classic levels what it is, which is why platformers and classics are split up in the first place. But the constant movement also allows for clicks with these very tiny windows, which I Wanna Be the Guy simply cannot replicate. So I believe that's another point for Geometry Dash. Now, last but not least, the infamous Elden Ring. This game consistently appears at the top of hardest games lists. This game is known for its confusing boss and enemy AI. You basically can't learn to defeat any enemies on your first try, because many of them have fake outs and combos, which means you have to fight them over and over again to ground your ability to dodge and attack at the right times. Also, there's no clear path, which basically means you could fight basic all enemies 1 second, then could be fighting enemies you won't be able to defeat for another 2 days worth of gameplay. This is one I haven't really played or played anything like it, so if I'm inaccurate at all, please correct me in the comments. But based on what I know, let's start comparing. This game, like many others, uses a leveling system, meaning you can upgrade your strength, weapons, defense, etc. This is incredibly important, as it makes the difference between you being 1-shot and you being like 3-shot. But everything can help you in a game like this, and this is where I start comparing. In Geometry Dash, you cannot upgrade at all. You are stuck with the same stats and whatnot, no matter if you just started or are the best player in the world. You can collect stars, moons, creator points, but it doesn't matter. You are stuck with the same moveset, same speed, and everything else. The only argument that could be made is that certain icons help you visualize your icon's hitbox more, but most of those are the default sets, which means you can use them at any time. The only exception I can think of is the wave, but that isn't my only reason, because if Geometry Dash was simply easier, it wouldn't matter if you couldn't upgrade. But it's not. Based off what I've seen, it takes about 25 attacks altogether to defeat an average enemy in Elden Ring. Now, it's not as simple as hitting over and over. You have to dodge, block, and sometimes have to give up an attack opportunity to heal. But you have fairly generous time to attack most of the time. Not very generous, but we're talking about the hardest games, but fairly generous. But in Geometry Dash, especially in top ones, clicks are not generous at all. Because the game is just timings, you have to absolutely lock in on that. And it's not even like the places to do the timings are always clear. In levels like Limbo, you have to use cues that seem like they have nothing to do with the gameplay to know when to click. Or sometimes you just gotta remember and pray. Now, it's unfair to compare an average enemy to a top one, but even all the final bosses, including the DLCs, do not have timings found in Geometry Dash levels. And most important, in Elden Ring, you get breaks. You are not constantly being attacked. In Geometry Dash, however, once you're in a level, you're in. And yes, you can pause, but you never see top 1 players pausing mid-level because it throws them off. So yeah, Geometry Dash I think takes the cake once again. So, based on the games I talked about in this video, I believe Geometry Dash is the hardest game. I only discussed 3, but I tried to choose the hardest from each general category of games. Now, let me be painstakingly clear. I am not calling any of these games easy. It would take me so long to get even decent at these games. But I just believe Geometry Dash is harder. And of course, it's my opinion. You don't have to agree. But if you have a game you think is harder, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And maybe I'll even respond or make a part 2. But hey, that's all. Have a blessed day.